Well, you guys know how much I love dice games, and I decided to do something I almost wasn't planning on doing. I'm going to put out the greatest dice game ever made. Greatest. Because I live in this world where I watch movies and they put people up against each other, and it just drives me crazy what they do for a literal story. So I decided to build my own game that involves true life, action for action dice game. Now, I got everything generally. I had it all before, but my last computer kind of, didn't work, and now this one doesn't play EXEs. So, I got it back to the original. Okay, now, first off, the rules. You use a six-sided dice. Let's start with that. And now, unlike Dungeons and Dragons, this each dot on this dice represent an action, a it's not really action, it's an action for offense or defense. And so each dot is offense or defense. And you're able to use them at any time, because like I said, it's defense. So when they're coming at you, when you roll, you do not have to use all the dice rolls at the same time. You can start stocking them, which helps with defense. Now, we come to the characters. You have to, when you get a R1, that means they can't use more than level 1 dice moves, because the point is you're going to draw a page, right? And I know you guys don't want to waste paper, but it grows itself. So, and paper can be, so you take a page, you write down every single thing you have ever seen that character do. Everything. And you can add temperatures, speeds, you go and add everything to this character. Now, you can, when it comes to, you add up all the points, and the different levels of points mean different, like the R1 is humanoid, small demons. Number 2 is engineers, chemists, biologists, mutants, animals, magicians. Remember, magicians are just illusionists. They use, like engineers, they use pieces. Next, number 3, you have kings, low dragons, priests. After that, you have wizards, demigods, large demons, large dragons, dimension walkers, environment controllers, mini titans. Those are earthbound creatures, 1 through 4. Now, I said the 1 through, but I really go to 8. Then you have like the first choir of angels, stars. Stars are strength wise. They put out so much energy for billions of years. These are beyond element movers. Then you have low gods, cosmic dragons. Uh, this is generally at the 6 megaton range. Then you have number 6, which is the second choir of angels. Goliath's sons, like Beetlejuice, high gods, black holes, titans, you know. Then you have number 7, which deals with gamma ray bursts, gigantic black holes, archangels, and you give this the 100 megaton range. Now 8, I did the Holy Trinity, but it's the all of the universe joined together at one time, putting every single thing it has into it would only equal 1% damage against it. So, it's generally uncalculatable. So, now, not only does this describe the basic from humanoid, number 1, storytellers and shopkeepers, but this also describes the level of attack. So when a human is using a level 50 megatons, for an R6, that means you need a 7 to put the character. Now, the point is, you only have to, once you have the character on the field, you don't have to use another one every time because he's already there. I don't believe in that Dungeons and Dragons thing where, oh, oops, you came onto the field and now you're seen by, if you should be able to creep around. If I got a creep hidden stealth ninja, I don't have to roll to see if the goblin notices me. I have the wind angle so I can stay downwind if I notice him first. So, now that's what your character is, rank, the number of dots per turn, because, yeah, people are going to be getting into but, let's keep it at 6, let's not go over the 6 right now. So, the playing grounds: act, attack, or defend. Those are the 3 options. That's what I was looking for to begin with. Act, attack, or defend. Those are the 3 for every dot. Act gives you a number of dots per turn. Subtract 1 dot for every one you're using. Use as much as you need. This can go towards space, distance, or power. Or speed. Space or speed. Act. Each character only has so many dots per turn. Save some for his counterattacks. Break the opponent's chain by defeating one of the dots, causing them all to break. After being used to be avoided for the remainder. So, basically, right, defend. You take A versus B. A is an R1 and B is an R1. A rolls high, so it's his turn, right? He uses right arm grab, hidden left arm knife thrust, right? B, that was his turn, right? So he rolled a 2. A rolls a 2. So he does the right arm grab and hidden left arm thrust. B goes and draws a 2-2, but he uses quick draw his gun and fires. So that quick draw is like an instant. That beats his right arm grab. I mean, generally, depending on their distance away from each other, the gun beats knife, but you can go and, roll 2-6, opponent rolls 1-6, the high wins, then you check the damage array. A damage array will tell you, opponent takes the hit because you shoot him, you fire, but because what will A do with his remaining 1 when B still has 2? See, because I did it 2-6 and 1-6. It's funny. I was gonna turn it into a actual game. So, but it still works. Because you add every dot together and it gives you a score. His rating for what he is and a number for how many dots he has on his page. And that gives you how many hit points he has of life. Now, the damage arrays we'll get to later, right? But that's how you set it up. You set up body, right arm grab, right release, right jab, right hook, right cross, right block, left arm, left grab, left release. You do it for all. Legs, run, jump, eyes, super SP cloth items. See, but then you have things like smoke bombs. And, that deflects eyes. It's a real counter, right? Score calibrator. R1 through R4 combine all the character's dots on his page. Multiply by the rank. Gives you his LP, his life points. Attack minuses all the remaining scores combined. So if it takes 5 to hit you, and you can't break the chain and stop the knife from happening, then those 5 points that I just hit you with get subtracted from your life points. With 5 through R8, even though it's R7, uses the HP of the attack R and R1 of there. So it's timesing by timesing. You take all the dots times the number times the rank. Oh, it's because stronger when you use a magic spell, a wizard's full spell, you can choose how many dots you want to add to it. It's because, the faster speeds need more dots. It takes more to play them. So so just like the R1 through R4, you take the number but an R1 can't use an R4's spell. Well, they can use the R4, but they can't use the R5 through 8 because unless it's a weapon. They can use weapons if they have some kind of a mechanical thing they stand in and it gives their legs the abilities, because a human can't do these things. It would have to be a mutant, which is the R2, an animal. R2s get into engineering and biology, and they're activate things that allow for enhanced levels. They say that this is not a normal human. He's a superhuman. Okay? Speed charts. Humanoid and small animals are a 1/6. 1 dot equals 1 second. 6 and 6 seconds. Right? Then you have the second, which is a bicycle. And medium animals, which is 2/6, which is a 3 dot for 1 second. Then, it's 18 in 6 seconds. Then you have a car, just a regular car, which is a 3/6, which is 10 dots, spaces, because a 3/6 takes you 10 dot spaces. Now remember, you have a field and you're on this field. You can have blockers for both people so that you have your hidden space. So you need 3 maps. One for you, one for the pool, and one for the opponent. And as you're moving your ninja on your screen behind here, you don't have to put him on the field. If he has goblins hidden in these bushes, he don't have to put them in until I get into range. Now, anybody who's seen my driver course, you literally draw the map out, so it's like the checkerboard, you'll have the dots, and you'll know how many dots it is in between these spaces just by the grids, So then you have jets and then thrusters, like my Star Trek, which goes 4 at 20 dots. And the numbers. Hold on, what did I lose? Impulse goes bullet speed. Light speed is warp 1, which is 120 and 126. Say then warp 2 all the way through warp 8, which is the max legal speed limit. There is a warp 9. I wish I had the other page. It really gets into something cool. Warp 9.5, anybody who's seen Star Trek knows that that's the max killing speed, where you start going and it messes up temporal dimensions. Well, other than Spock's vessel and the Millennium Falcon, nothing else can go those speeds while not destroying it. That's Chewie's work because Chewie was with Londo with the ship. He just loves the ship so much, After this, you go into the time manipulators. After that, you go into wormhole technology. After that, you go into teleportation. Now, you could say wormhole tech is afterwards, but it usually still involves technology, where teleportation might not. See? So, I leave it up to y'all, to preset these things as you get into it. Right? Okay, now, hacking pages or manipulating page attacks can only be done by R4s and up. Now remember, you're coming in here with a book, and your character has a book. And these books are going to be fighting each other. You have all of your characters, all of your maps, all of your lands, and they have all of theirs. You have your dividers. You start playing these things in the center. Now, R4 and up I'm able to start attacking your book and forcing stuff out, right? You have gear shifters, which means drive systems, cascade. It's really gear shifting, like going silent. Only notice page makes your noise. Okay, I mean, it's hard for me to be a ninja if I'm walking through a whole field of poppers, right? And you're gonna have to notice me moving the poppers. So it breaks my ninja. Okay? Fields generally don't cost any dots to activate. But neither does gear shifters. None of these do. My ninja, well, no, I guess that's not true. It's lands. You have autos, which wait for triggers to be present, like the poppers. You put a field out full of poppers. You have your. See, they have dots too. Waiting. They're their own dice, though. Each one of your characters rolls its own dice. Even the fields will roll their own dice. So they end up with all these. You just have to say who you're rolling for. And, remember, every character has to defend himself, unless they get together and work with it. Times two. Hit points are target. Hold on, let's see. Mobile, instant to now. Wearable equipment gives you the R level, HP plus shields. So if you put yourself in a machine, an armor, your level now has changed to the armor's defense strength. Plus it changes. Sometimes it can go against you because of heavy armor. If it's not mechanical, it's gonna go and lower your hits per. You have to account for that kind of stuff. But if you're if you have 3 people inside of a truck, you'll use one person who's driving, whose dice is going towards driving. You have the other 2 people whose dice is going to whatever you need it to. So you can deal with all that. That's the multi-character page. It's you can use, if your character has a phone, a radio, he has a backup call. You can call in other people from your page. I mean, yes, you can have something like the A-team where all your people are on the same page. Because that's sort of the point of the game. Not only do you want to have the best book, but you want to have the page that can beat all of the contingencies. I mean, without them doing I got the Super R8, I got the Super God Trinity, and I beat everything in your universe. It's like that's kind of cheap. It's like I got a tea shop. In the back you can learn crafts, and you can. That's legitly real. A field brace, equipment gives full field, R level plus your team. Right? Okay. So there's the premise of you can't breathe my atmosphere. So what are you going to do? Do you have anything in your arsenal? Do you have people you can call? Do you have equipment you can use? Is it on this page? Because you can't call, if you can't summon it from your book using the page, then you can't win. Because if we got 2 gunslingers fighting each other, unfortunately, if yours is just John Wayne and I got a gunslinger from the Stephen King's Gunslinger series. Mine has a little bit more of a range to use. So if your guy has a buddy, if your John Wayne has the guy from, Daniel Craig from, Cowboys and Aliens, all of a sudden he's stepping into some technology, and it's like, well, now I can't really, I have to hope, you know, why don't you go to that page? You can watch that. Then, mechanized, can have character control. You can have, with the field stuff, you also have power plants. So you can build power plants and factories, which helps you put out stuff, and helps you restock your whole team, because field bonuses go for the full field. Character control overrides, mind control. Mechanized gives you, a tank can shoot big cosmic 50 megaton weapons. Quick draws, instant stuff. The 3-in-1 dot. It's where these are 3 moves in one. It's for any and all, whatever you're doing. Then you have the 1 and 3 dot, where it's 1 hits the 3. -1 for every AA supports, 1 negative dice roll for extra supports. The 3x3, you do 3, hits the 3 with the 3. These are the things that the mechanized and the more advanced characters can do. And then it's like if you have a Kenshin like Kenshin Amora, he's a superhuman. Yes, he's a humanoid, and his body falls under that human damage array, but he can still perform the higher level moves because he's a master, actually the Grandmaster. So he's more a higher R rank with his capabilities. R1s can do, for the power per rank, R1s can do times 2 HP, R2 can do times 3 HP unless they connect with equipment, potions, items. Then then they can all do more. R2 is an R3, and R3 is an R3, and R4 is an R4. Once you get into the R5 through R7, they're all environmental profound. They're able to use environmental scripts and spells and manipulate the environments. So they really don't have we're dealing with the megaton zones, things that are beyond. These things are the tank crushers, Number 8, God, we don't deal with that. Hidden power, dot plus, like snipers. The eyes have ranges, and a scope will add to your level. So you go to your map on the field, and if it's just a regular human, it has so far of eye range, ear range, and any equipment you add on. Like if it's nighttime, you can go and institute a time dial, which puts the sun in day and night to flip around at a certain amount of time, whatever you have it set to. And you can put on night vision goggles and infrared, and see these characters who are hidden. Uh, chemical burns. All right, field of expertise or field types. All right, the types of lands we're dealing with. 1 star, just soil, which you can put assets on. You can use the trees, you can use the mountains, just regular lands. The next one is buildings. All building walls must have life points. You have to go to the environmental tables per material. And that'll tell you how much it takes to destroy that wall, how much to blow out that glass, how much to go through the roof. Your buildings are set up like your characters. It would be a page on itself. And you put the land down, the land has these things automatically on it. So when you put your land out, if you're the first one, you rolled high, you put your land out, I'm stuck on that land. And you get to pull out 15 pages, hit them behind your little divider, and I don't know what I'm up against. But like I said, most of these will start off with just us deciding that it's going to be a gunfight, a gunslinger versus gunslinger. But if you're going to throw out a field like that, you really can't complain when I pull out whoever I want, if it's not preset. Ships, like I said, have to be driven, but any other character you have in it roll their own dice, giving each one the same number that they can use or save over for any attack, or defend. The type of planes with the laws attached to them. Earthly bodies, physical, metaphysical, magic, and cosmic. Earthly bodies. So if I pull out the Earth, you're stuck on the Earth as if it was a planet. If you cannot climb out of the atmosphere, get into outer space where there's no air, you're stuck on the Earth. There's nothing you can do about it. So if I got a guy who can go to the moon and start building up stuff over here using his dice too, and you can't shoot even a missile that far, then there's nothing you can do about it. You just have to hopefully build up defenses enough to save yourself. Okay, this deals with all physics, metaphysics, and magic, and God. You know what I mean? It's all of it. Number 2, the type of planes with the laws attached are dreamscapes. RM restrictions apply. You have to, when you're in a dream mode, if I go and put you in a dream mode, your guy falls into a coma. And so I'm able to collect him up if you don't have somebody protecting him. It's real life. We're not dealing with, oh, I'm Mario, I just jumped on you. You have to take it seriously. Number 3, you have moons and galaxies and things that are 2 pages, 2 pages that aren't touching each other. They're inaccessible unless you can. Number 4, you have the Wonderland effect, which is mini games, mambo, tricks, traps, things that put you into places. Like me throwing you on this thing and now you have to walk the path to get out, trapping you in a box. If you don't have if he isn't a locksmith, if he isn't a magician, he can't get out of it. You see, so you can lose characters really fast, and you have to send in characters to get to them, and you have to get to them before I can go and stop you from it, as I'm trying to get to my own stuff from stopping you. And since this was a game to see who would really win, Batman or Superman, when they both are full strength and you wrote these pages to match everything you've ever seen about them. All right. Next, number 5, you have La La Land, where it's psychic damage, where it's psychotic breaks. Now, these are funny because not only like the Wonderland, you can do these stuff to yourself too. They're not only attacks. You know, if I throw my tea shop out there, I want to go and have tea necessarily. You don't have to be a ass and destroy it, but it's psychic damage. I can cause psychological breaks on you. But if I go and do a psychological break at the Incredible Hulk, I just really screwed up because he's going to get stronger. So you have to take that into account. And the psychotic breaks don't usually mean death. It usually doesn't even hardly mean, it's just adds, you have to add this into it. It's to add resistance levels against you. These are the 3-in-1 things where I just psychotically broke you. Now it takes 3 of your dots to roll one to gain 1 dot. You know what I mean? So you have to roll a 6 just to get a 2. And it makes you unmotivated. You see what I mean? Is this coming together? Number 6 is the multiverse level, where it's any and all natural or construct. These are these are big things, okay? Which you would understand by this point. Number 7 is time. Time is relative. You can move it backwards or forwards or run with it naturally. Because like I said, there really is no set. When it's my turn, I roll for all my characters. But you're able to defend at any time, and break my moves. So if I'm running at you, you're able to use your defense and use those extra dots that you have collected. Both our dots are on the board in front. I would suggest like the having a whole stack, so you can 15 without having to write it all the time, and then you using 2 so that you know what I mean. Then, and with it there, you can't change it. You can't cheat. And so you're able to charge attack back. So if we're going to be in the middle of a sword fight, I roll, I go further steps, but you roll, you go and charge, and then it's who has enough to, you have to put an extra dot to go in the extra mile and get in the extra speed, and to put the extra shield. You only got so many. And the advanced players are going to get into the 20 dice and things like that. But, because the cosmic players could use the 20 dice because it's more. I'm just starting it at the baseline. This is to put you in the world. Okay, now we have environmental ranges, right? A mountain is chutes and ladders, right? You would draw a mountain and you would have the path where it's slippery zones and climbable zones. Well, with altitude lines, you get into, do I need a air mask? When you get into, do I need mountain gear equipment? So that I have to climb. And if you tell me it's 3 for every 1 because it's really steep, well, but if I have a pickaxe and mountain gear, that turns me back into the 1-1. See, I broke your 3-1 by having the right equipment. It's really not complicated. It's really a lot simpler than the pages look, but you should be getting that by now. Then we have oceans. You can be above the ocean, on the ocean, or below the ocean. Rainforests, cloud cities, It's any and all, any and all school of mischief and mayhem. It's really whatever you need it to be. Proper bridges required to jump between planes of existence. You can say, oh, I got a spaceship so I can get to your moon base. You're no longer kept away from me. That second page is on the field now. Things that destroy all space time only destroy the things in play. Right, so that was kind of the problem with the God stuff. It doesn't destroy the full book. If an asteroid comes in and it kills the Earth, well, now we're in space. You know, so we either have a magician or a god that can, or a teleporter who can bring up other worlds, or we have to summon and call on our radio that luckily we have on our CB radio and call up a rocket ship, because luckily we don't breathe. So, fields require two copies. I already explained that. With the distant gauge. See, so those are the types of, how you incorporate a field. It's all needs the maps, and you got you can have the ocean page here with the land page. It's just as you get over to this side, because you would throw the land page first where you're coming in, sort of your base of operations, and then you would throw the ocean. Well, or you would throw the moon, but you don't have them touching. If it's not touching, then it's not part of this map. So as you're like, well, I got land stuff too, and I can go and hook it onto it. And I got stuff for the ocean. So you build this map in front of you as you go. Now, let's get into some more, right, names and types of dimensions. You're able to go into the second dimension where it's image and sound. Just like entering a picture on the wall. If you have a character that can do that. If you have Mario, he can do that too. So if I got Mario and you got a guy, you thought you were safe going in there, I can now go in there because a human can't swim to the bottom of the ocean. So you really have to build this stuff right. The mice in the wall, inside a computer, web browser, pocket dimensions, heaven and hell, doors that any and all must have a power source. A door is the median, so Gunslinger series from Stephen King has the dimensional doors that come up, but that door has a page that attaches to it. So that is the power source that makes the bridge happen. Because that's a dimension jump. It's not just a moon. My guy starts off on the moon. If I start off on the Earth, but if I have to call the guy on the moon, or go to my rocket and then fly there. There is no I'm gonna pull the moon out. I had to call it first. It makes it a level playing field. Damage arrays. Okay. Right. Spread or funnel. That's the first thing you ask. Did you just get hit? You would have to draw a human. So I go and shot. If you go in like that first battle, you went to grab me and then stab me, but I drew the gun and shot first. I hit what it was. Got your right arm, which is going to cause damage, which is going to subtract points and stop the rest. Unless your character's the points are higher, unless that second move, you know what I mean? Would -5 from your 5, and you would be left with the remainder. But if I would still have more because I only used a quick draw, so it would still be, it's a battle for each time we engage, you know, but depending on the type of bullet, which we'll get into that kind of stuff too, you know, DA are attached to characters, items, artifacts. The damage array, everything has a damage array. It all has a life points. The wall, the building, the roof, it's all different number of life points. Eventually your arm's gonna be dead. You can get your arm cut off. You can, once I shoot you in the hand, most likely you're not going to be able to use it again. And magic potions and things like that are not really, you have to have some character, some biologist, some chemist, some medical hospital, some character, some wizard, because a magician might be able to do tricks and get out of stuff and locks, but an environment changer, you need a wizard, somebody who can manipulate the. See, a wizard is a engineer too, right? But you need somebody who can manipulate these things and to heal it. You know, Ships, everything has its own life points, its own actions it can do that you times by the strength of the material times the number of things it can do gives you, you know, plus because you added speed, everything. You add it all together, just like the characters. And that's what it comes down to. Um, you need proper keys to unlock. You know, if you get hit with a neurotoxin, you need anti-venom to beat it. If a snake bites you, you need venom from that snake to make anti-venom. The snake venom starts draining your life points over so much time, before death. So if you get bit, it's every turn, every time you roll, it's going to take more points away. And so you have so much time before I go and die. So I have to get that snake and do all this stuff. Um, Falling from the ground or falling when you get hit into walls, it's most likely not going to hurt the wall because the wall has to be at the certain level of hit before it hurts the wall. You take that damage. So not only do you get punched in the face and lose points, but if your head hits the wall, you lose more points. I mean, right? It's 10 points, 15 points, 20 points is broken bones. 35, you can keep going. Size is relative. Atoms, viral, organic, these are all things that go into it. Targeting protocols, for your eyes, ears, taste, feel. You go and move these things. Eyes have the multi-scanners, scanning in all the spectrums. Artifacts can use that kind of stuff. With ears, you can have machines that do that, or have them set to auto, to where the ground is set, like I said, with the poppers. Spirits can detect that kind of stuff. Taste, I mean, feeling the wind, which way the wind's blowing. You can build all of these things together. You can use cameras and motion sensors and multi-scanners and tracking devices, scopes with multiple lenses. All of these things add to your range, because as soon as you put your eyes on, your eyes have the preset number for the human range, and lenses, infrared, night vision, binoculars, Hubble, sonar, seismic, magnify. Time is parental, affects all. You know, as soon as it all works in accordance with each other, and everyone's psychological attacks, intimidate, character control, where you're influencing, it's the 3-in-1 or 2-in-1. It costs so much to give it to him. If it doesn't, he doesn't have something to block it. Because Spider-Man can sense a bullet from a sniper gun with a silencer while blindfolded. So, you know what I mean? Your characters are built for these things. Play on fears if able. A stolen character. If you would have to write down that this is the action and this is the consequence. This is the symptom that I'm putting on the person. Nerves, you pick top, bottom, or instead. You choose how it's gonna institutionalize. You put him in a game where he can't get out. He's stuck in it. If I throw you to the moon with life support, doesn't mean you'll ever escape there. Event scenes, that's all part of personality. Act, attack, defend. It's all in your defenses. Act, attack, defend. So I do a dance and it's mesmerize, it draws your attention, it costs you points unless you can stop it from costing points. Animals get 4 dots per turn for every 1 dot. The small animals, the medium, the large. Fields, water, land, air, underground. Slow, medium. Large animals are slow or medium. And then fast. There's not many fast ones. Because those small are slow because they don't go much distance. The type of violent list. The claw damage. The bite damage. Attributes, regular, modified, mechanized, or spirit. Is it a spirit animal? That means it's cosmic. The mechanized almost means cosmic. Modified means it's got a higher rank, up to the 4, or just a regular 1. Difficulty level. Beginner, able to add dots, not on the page. These are the levels you give to the people who ain't experienced. The tournament class. This is the real world. Planes of existence laws must be followed. Then you have the nightmare difficulty level. Safety restrictions are removed on all planes of existence. I'm going to put you in a box and you're going to die. Battle engagements. 1-on-1, 1 versus team versus team, any and all. Book versus 1 versus book versus book. Roll to see who goes first. See who goes next. You could keep doing it. Penny Ramba. Each book per holder, Use the 100 pennies to help whenever the character page, 1 per more, is killed, destroyed, the player gives up that it's done, Once you die, you die. Unless you got something to fix that. Guns, right? The name, the type, the number of dots equal the minutes per second. The clips, the number, the type. Then you got the range. Then you got the caliber and the damage, plus accessories. So an M16 is a semi-automatic. It's the number of dots at minutes a second is 11 over 660 dots, right? The clips, you can have 1 tranquilizer, 1 regular, 30 dots. The range is 1804 foot a second. The caliber is 5.56. Caliber. What does the damage do? I don't know. You can put a scope, a grenade launcher, the modified A12 semi-automatic, a 530, a medium box regular, 120,000 rounds. It has 574-foot range. The caliber is 12. Then you have a GAU-8 Avenger. It's a GE Electric. This thing is a 65 over 390. It has a box. That's how many bullets a second. A box of 120,000 with anti-tank rounds. It has a range of 4,827 foot with a 30 millimeter caliber. Royal Arms, long-handled revolver. You can do semi-automatic 1 to 3. With your clips, you have 10, 4, one silver bullets. You got the wooden bullets, or for the clips, silver bullets, wooden bullets, tranquil, and regular, 600-foot range. You can build your guns. AR-15, it's just a semi-automatic. 1 dot to fire it. Clips is 303. 1 is armor piercing, 2 is regular. 2,700 feet a second. It's small caliber, 5.56. And what else do we got here? To draw costs to draw the gun cost 1 dot. When shooting, shooter rolls a 2-6. The opponent rolls 2-6 rolls a 1-6. If the opponent rolls higher, he keeps his head, able to use the remainder for the escape or fire back. If the shooter wins, the opponent gets hit with the remainder dots. After subtracting the 1 for 2 dice, check the gun. Fire stats, the number of dots minus the damage. So the number of dots, the 1160 for the M16, the 5300, or the 11660 for the 5300 for the modified 365. These are the get subtracted from the opponent's life points. Does the opponent have, in most shots, to kill you? So you got to have a lot of life points to survive these things. These are guns. They're not little baby things where you can get shot 1,000,000 times. Every bullet can go and kill you. Life point. Does the opponent have a modified damage array? Do you have armor? Do you have... Then it's quick draws, Hunter Guild luggage, certain maps. Explosives, you have landmines, you have M80s, C4, Simtex, grenades, fuel bombs. Nuclear is 1,000 tons of TNT. Thermonuclear is 6 megatons. Right, 1,000 tons of TNT equals 100 million pounds. That'll put a crater 1,000 dots across in the ground. That's from the nuclear. 1,000 tons of TNT is 100 million pounds, and a crater 1,000 dots wide in diameter. Grenades are, because you have, for every explosion, you have the name, the amount, and the amount goes, you have to have the amount for 1. The accessories you add to it. Ignition, is it a 3-second wick, a 10-second wick, remote, timed, pin pull, 10-second pin pull, proximity, what kind of a ignition is it? Then you have the blast radius. It's the first damage and a second damage area. Most things, there's an explosive hit and the shrapnel hit. What effects does it do? Mobile check. Page 3 stars. The stars are like the. Then you have rockets, which deals with the explosion, the blast radius, the speed, and the force. It's things like a rocket, the launch range. The launch range, the trigger, the damage area, the speed, and the force. So you got to figure out for the RPG. You have to figure out for the bazooka, the rocket launcher, the grenade launcher. Which a launch range for the grenade launcher is 500 feet. The tip, what kind of a trigger? Is it the tip? Is it preset? Is it the damage radius is 4.5 feet? The speed is 3.3 miles per minute. The force is 150 pounds. This is all for the grenade launcher. Like I said, I had more. I had it all wrote down. It's horrible. A weight converter. Pounds equals the number of dots of HP. Kilograms to pounds is divide the number in half. 1 gram of TNT is 0.002 pounds. 454 grams equals 1 pound. Oh, in pounds. BTU to pounds is 1 to 1. Because it's 1 pound. A BTU is how much heat it takes to boil 1 pound of water. It's 1 to 1. 1 pound of TNT is 2,300 pounds. 1 BTU equals boiling 1 pound of water. 1 ton equals 2,000 pounds. 1 ton of TNT is 100,000 BTUs. 1 megaton equals 4.187 times 10 to the 15. It's 1 joule of TNT. Distance, a yard to 3 feet. The meter is 3 feet. A foot in miles, 5,280. Run, jump, increase. Ratio, light speed, warp. Light speed, warp 1, 2,999,792.458 miles a second. Warp 2, you would times that number by 2, it's 2 times the speed of light. Warp 3 would times that number by 3, and so on and so forth. Miles per minute is take the number of miles divided by 60, for how many seconds. Rock, paper, scissors. Physical is the types of effects: physical, mental, magic, industrial, supernatural. Physical attacks: fists, blades, guns, explosive support. Mental is hypnosis, sleep, illness, fortitude. Amp. Magic is illusion, amp, evolve, trick, treat. Industrial is engineer, chemical, biological, utility. Scholastic. Supernatural is mech, trap, locks, amp. Environmental. Environmental tables, right, is HP. The HP is consumes air with fire. It consumes air. You have candle, wood, forest fire, lava, chemical, all the different kinds of fires. The LP is R1, is light as a feather. Wood plus wind equals heavy fire, equals fire. Wood and R3 wind equals a fast fire. R4 wind, it all depends. You can make them stronger. Wind, you have feather, flight, lift, gust, tornado, hurricane. No cosmic. Chemical would be the cosmic fire, chemical fire. With water, you have drips, rain, ice, steam, ground, freeze, tidal wave. You can burn with water. Water can cut materials. Water cuts, a water cutter. Um, Water also is black hole stuff. Wind, worm, whirlpools. 100 degrees boiling. Electric. You can also use electric in factories and supports and have power going to it. I can go if I have a law that says what electricity is. I can go and I can feed you off, make your batteries have a timeline. Like tasers, 550,000 volts, building materials. Um, oh, wait. Landslide, bolts of electricity, bright lightning. A bolt is 3 million volts, and a sprite lightning is 1,000 times that, meaning 3 trillion volts. The temperature is of a lightning bolt's 52,642, I think. Earthquake, 119 megatons of TNT. Building materials. You have the 1 foot of cement, 1 foot of marble, 1 foot of sand, 1 foot of stone. You can use them as walls, barriers, shields, divides, times the number of feet. So it'd be the number of pounds it takes to break that times the number of feet. You do that with aluminum, copper. I had it all. Aluminum, copper, iron, steel. Steel is no fold times the number of folds, makes it stronger. Spider web, diamond. You can find out for all of these. I really did have it all. But this is just like I said to get you guys started. Living fields, where fields come alive. No team allowances. They have their own dice. And unfortunately, land has, if I have a mountain and to make it erupt in a volcano, that takes a roll. But there are spots on it that are quicksand and sinkholes and cause cave-ins when certain things are done to them, certain triggers. So if you think you're going to climb this mountain and it's not going to attack you, you're not always right. Cliff edges. And then you still have to worry about how heavy the rocks are that's hitting you. How fast are they going? Rock slides. You have to figure out the mass, the materials, and the damage. For hurricanes, what category winds, 1 through 4. The lightnings per turn. How does it rain? The tides, how much force, how much range, trajectory. Volcanoes, I already explained, plus the lava damage, the fume, how fast is that going? It's that's it. But it's a lot. But like I said, this puts Hercules against the real thing. It puts Superman against Batman. This puts every person as they truly are versus every land the way it is. You have to look at it like an analyst. You write this stuff down, write as small as you can, make sure you can read it. have this stuff on there. Because if it isn't on your page and you can't prove it, then it doesn't work. You have to literally have it there. It has to be wrote down, but you can put everything you ever seen. If you use a character by his name, he has to be legit. I would suggest even having evidence because this can cause fights, you know, but then you can have the modified character, a Superman mod where he can become anything you want. You go in, you don't have to follow. But if you're in a legit terms of finding out to fight who fights who's, then you want to have that stuff. That's my game universe. It's amazing. I plan on incorporating it into my 3D digital universe. The one where you have to wear it comes with a backpack computer, motion sensors, cameras, and the riot gear mask, the big clear riot gear mask you wear over your face, and it puts digital pictures in the real world, because it's curved, so it goes around your whole head, plus it's not touching your face, it's away from it, so you can actually see these things. You change the focus on it for your eyes. For real, it's a great game. It's really cool. I got all kinds of characters. That's where my character page actually came from. It wasn't really building for movies. It's just a game that built movies. You know, well, that's an hour and 11, so I'm going to go and cut that out. And for real, if it ever turned into it, that's where all my dice games came from. It's an interactive live universe with damage. If you get shot in the arm, you can't use that arm. So all of your right armed attacks on your page are gone. If you get the sword, the blade, I have so many feet in my step, plus my arm is so long, plus my sword is so long. So that is just like increasing range, just like a scope increases my eyes, and cameras can increase my view of the area. These are things that I can set up and have preset. It's you choose how it goes. I mean, just what kind of player are you? If I want to take the slow game, I can go and run secretly and set up cameras and bombs and traps. Or I can play it as the land and have this is my base camp. I already have my garage set up how I need it. My cameras are already there. The other character doesn't know because he's not looking at your page. But when a dispute happens, you gotta pull the page and show it. Whether you want to hide the rest of your stuff, fine. Have an extra couple pieces of paper, and it's like, look, it's right there. I wrote it down. So it's legal, and that's all it takes. It's like, yep, that's a rocket ship. I don't care where. It's a rocket ship. It's on your page. I would suggest for things like that, that's why you have to have your own map. It's like, no, see, you go and I pull, instead of pulling my page out, I pull a second map page out and say, see, that's been there the whole time. Then I can take a little piece of cutout paper and put it on there. I like Star Wars. I like Star Trek. I built it so that I can do these things with it. Star Trek, you can literally build the rebellion versus you use a field that's the size of a carpet, one of those floor carpets, and you go and set up a whole bunch of planets at the start of it. Well, then you take all of your characters, and they take all of their characters, and put their deployments out. And Everything gets their own dice roll. 1 to 1, moving it, moving it. And you don't have to wait for turns with something like that. You're both rolling. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Pieces are moving. Things are going. You're deploying extra ships out of it. The Star Destroyer has so many TIE fighters in it. Or the Rebellions have so many ships that come out of it. And every person ends up with their own dice roll. And it's like, oh, that's too much. But it's like, yeah, but unless you're up against three characters, three people, it's like they can only do so many at a time. So you're able to go in, and just like mine, you have their own pages because you pull out the Star Destroyer page. It has all of its stats right on it. It has its TIE Fighter page. It has its, just like the map, they all attach to each other. When I pull this one, it pulls out 5 others. And that's the thing you're fighting. You're not just fighting something with hit points. You're fighting a legit, actual beast. And it has tons of things with tons of life points. And it is straight awesome because that gets you onto planet wars. Jedis can build stuff out of the ground. They can ore materials and make it so that they can build rockets even if they're marooned on some caveman planet. They'll still be able to go and build a rocket ship and fly out of there because that was their Padawan training. It is the true, I'm going to have to think of what to call this. The entertainment universe, right? Everything you've ever seen on TV, real life, or dreamt is open for facing it, you know? And you can have the characters to where this is where I talk about the level 8, the God Trinity. This is where you go and pull out the level 8 and, oh, I just killed everything. But it's like, well, I just pull out my level 8 and killed everything. So now we're going to do our dice battle, see whose actions beat the others. Because you build them just like every other thing, with everything on their page. Problem is that one character can only have one page, and it's not a back and front page. It's one page. My Star Destroyer might have things in it that have more than one, that has, but it doesn't have more. You can send it out, and now I blew up this Death Star, but all the stuff out on the field's still alive. So, but I just beat your level 8. I don't care about that other stuff. I can snap my fingers and they're dead because everything in the universe only equals 1% against it. And that's being nice. And that's with them at their fullest. So, that is the greatest dice game ever made.